Hey YouTube land, Take Andrews here, doing another action figure review, and we're rocking on with more Masters of the Universe. Now, before I proceed, just need to say these reviews are intended for collectors over the age of 13, to abide by FTC and COPA rules, and if you are under that age, you need to ask permission from a parent or guardian to watch the video. And today, this is a review for the Lord of Destruction, aka Skeletor, from the Masters of the Universe Revelations Netflix anime show. Now, there is a bone of controversy with this show at the moment. This is the show that was directed by Kevin Smith. As far as I know, there's two shows coming out. There's He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, and this is Masters of the Universe. And I'm not really going to get bogged down into, the fan criticism of the show and all that. I'm here just to review the figure. So what we'll do is start with the box. So moving the figure out of the way, we'll start with the box that this comes in. This is part of the Masterverse line. These are supposed to be more highly detailed, high-end style versions of the figures. There is a secondary line which is part of the other animated series coming out, which is the He-Man and Masters of the Universe, which is more cartoon, kiddie friendly sort of line. So there is that on the way. But this is the one that's more aimed at the collectors or the fan base. So on the side of the box, you have an image of Skeletor. Now, this Skeletor in the anime is voiced by none other than Luke Skywalker, aka Joker Hamill. So it's actually quite an interesting take. Flipping around to the back of the box, you can see the other figures available. Now, I will point out that as I review this, and I'm living in Ireland, there are only 3 figures available at the moment as part of Wave 1, even though Mossman and Evelyn are supposed to be part of Wave 1. They haven't been seen yet. He-Man, Skeletor, and Skelly-God are the only ones that are available. Now, if you don't know who Skelly-God is and you want to avoid spoilers, then don't look it up. I'm not going to say what he is, but when I get around to reviewing that figure, I probably will go into a small bit of spoiler territory, or will have to. You have the name of the character on the side of the box, all the legalese stuff at the bottom of the box, and you have the Mattel Masters of the Universe Revelations Skeletor name. Then it says Netflix original series, and you have barcodes and whatnot. Now, as I said, these are only starting to show up here in Europe and in Smith's in Ireland. They were slated for an August release, so they are popping up a little early. I think they were slated for mid-August. They seem to be popping up a little bit earlier than anticipated. Pricing wise, they are fairly pricey. If I remember correctly, this guy, Skeletor here, is, I think it was $39.99, and then the Skelly-God is a deluxe figure, so he's $49.99. So if I just bring the figure in, we can get on cracking with the figure. So out of the box, he actually comes with these 2 hands as a default. I have taken them out of the sockets to swap out the hands, so he has an enclosed punching right fist and a grip left fist, or left hand. He comes with 2 weapon accessories. So he comes with his iconic Havoc staff. Now, this staff is actually quite interesting compared to most other versions of Skeletor. Now, I don't have any of the 2000X style Skeletors, but even as going to the classics, if I can get it out of his hand, he's just off screen here. Here's the classics Havoc staff. You can see that it's all done in kind of predominantly the same color plastic, whereas this one, the ram head, is actually a different color. And it's the same with the vintage one. If I can grab my vintage, well, it's not the vintage, it's the Origins one, which is based on the vintage figure. You can see the ram, the Havoc staff is all done in a single plastic. This one actually has 3 different types of plastic. So you have the base staff itself, which is a kind of light lilac purple, and then you have the kind of almost pinkish bone color for the skull on top, and then the rams are deeper purple. So you have three different bits of three different colorations of plastic going on. Now I think from what I can see, it is two pieces. This ram skull with the ram horns is one piece, and these are painted, and there is paint apps for the skull or the eye sockets and the nose socket. So you do have that as well. So there's additional paint apps that aren't on the other figures. As I said, I don't have any of the 2000X figures, so I can't compare the staffs to them, but I have a feeling that the staffs on the 2000X figures are all the same scale. Or sorry, not same scale, but the same kind of, you know, one color type thing. So bringing a tape measure, you can see he stands just around the 7-inch mark. So these are kind of on par with the our classics line. So I will bring in a few in scale figures to compare them to. If I just move the box out of the way, hopefully he won't flop forward. He also comes with the staff of change, which is significant. If you've watched the anime, you know, or the animation, the new animation. It was also featured in one episode of the original series, so it is kind of a nice nod to see it coming back. But bringing the figure in a bit closer, you can get to see the articulation and the sculpting. Now, what's really cool about these guys, just move stuff out of the way, I have too much stuff near the base here. He actually comes with a soft goods cloak, which is quite nicely done. I'm not sure if I put it on the right way around. I think this side should have been in on the inside. I did take him apart yesterday. His head is on a ball joint, which is quite easily taken apart. Now, this is my minor nitpick of this figure, is that when you just take the stuff off, I think the cloak is supposed to be this way around. I could be wrong. I might have put it on wrong. I think there is a difference in the texturing. I'm not sure if you can see that on screen, but it's kind of smoother on the inside, and then it has that kind of a slight fuzz feeling to it on the outside. I think it's supposed to be that way around. Might have put it back on the wrong way around when I took his head off. Now, the reason I have to take the soft goods cloak off is his leg here was a bit jammed, so it was doing that thing where he'd pull it forward and it'd just go back. He'd kind of swing back in. So I heated it up and it freed up the joint. So you can see the articulation. The head is on a ball joint. You can take off the cloak. It's the harness piece is what I think is a bit disappointing. The way that the bones continue on up on this. It's not all part of this sculpting for the harness itself. So it's like a two-piece harness, which is kind of a bit of a shame. I would have preferred it if it had been like one piece, like the classic or Origins and the Classics version. But it does give a good view of the articulation. Now, my one has this big, weird, I think it's almost a glue piece on his shoulder. It's probably not on all of them, it's just on my one. It looks like it was where the two joins for the shoulders, these pieces were glued together. It looks like it got spilled some of the glue out, but it didn't stick the arm, which is okay. The arms are on a ball joint. You have a bicep swivel, double hinged elbows. You have wrist articulation with a in and out on the wrists. Arms can go all the way around. It's not really hindered by the actual neck or the piece here as well when that's on. You can, because these are kind of softer, you can move them out of the way, or you can splay the arm out and just rotate it around that way, which makes it far easier. There is a upper waist joint. There is a waist swivel. It's not a kind of a ball joint kind of section, it's just a swivel. His legs can do the splits that much. His legs are quite articulated, so you can kick forward that much, kick back a bit. It's a slight bit hindered by the sculpt. It would be nicer if I showed that on camera. You can kick forward, kick back. It has a thigh swivel, which is quite tight. He has dual jointed knees. Just get the knee to bend. You have a full nearly 180 on the knee. You have a boot swivel, and then you have an ankle articulation with kind of rocker ankles. They're not the best rocker ankles, but they do get some nice posability out of them. So you can swivel it around, but it depends on what way you have it. As I said, the hands are swappable, so I'll throw in the default hands. So you just pop them out. They're on, the pegs aren't too big on them, so it doesn't get in the way too much. So you just pop them out, pop it out, and pop them back in. He does have peg holes on the bottom of the feet. He doesn't come with any stand, and then just pop his head back off and put his cloak back on. Hopefully I'll put it on the right way around this time. As I said, I think this side is supposed to be on the inner bit. I wasn't really paying attention to it when I took it off. What's really nice about this guy, just bring him in close, you can actually see the detailing on his hood. He actually has what looks like a continuation of the cloth, of the purple cloth that's for the cape on his hood, which is quite nice. You have a lot of detailing on his sculpt work. You even have those kind of, I don't know, what would you call them, kind of veiny type things, or the wing type things on his arms. That was kind of common on nearly all Skeletors. I do have a bit of, I think it's like paint splotching on his skirt piece. So I'm not sure where the paint came from, because it doesn't look like it looks like it's painted black, so it could be just bleed through from the purple of this, but I think it's a separate piece. The only thing I could think of is it's coming from this, but it doesn't, the cowl or the neck piece, but it shouldn't have been done at the same time. And then just for some size comparisons, let's just get him rocking his Havoc staff on the hand. Now the Havoc staff is shown on this hand, but you can wield it in both hands depending on which hand you have in the sockets. You can wield both weapons at once if you want. It just kind of looks a little weird in my opinion. So for size comparisons, we'll start off with a similar scale Skeletor. Now my one is a bit, he's showing his age. He's fairly dusty. You could do with a bit of a cleaning. Here he is with the classics. Now this is the first version Skeletor. He has the more open hand. There was two versions of this guy. There was one with more open hand, and then there was one with a more closed left hand. This is the kind of first version of him. You can see the blues are quite different. The skin tone blues are quite different. The newer one is a bit more muted. And then for another Skeletor comparison, because I have him at hand, here he is with the Origins, the new version Origins with the closed mouth. That has been recently released. So you have that. Just move some of these guys into the background. For more size comparisons, we have the Cabal figure from Mortal Kombat, from McFarlane. So you can see the scale. He's a bit smaller than Cabal. And who do I else have that might be? Super 7's Shredder from the TMNT line. So he actually scales a bit better to Shredder. He's almost the same. They're pretty much on the same height. And then for one other comparison, because I have it with me and we can see if you can fit it. Here is Classics Panther. So Classics Panther is a good bit dusty, just like my Classic Skeletor from being on display. So you can see how well he scales up to the Classics one. If you can see him in shot. So let me just move the camera a touch. So we'll see if we can fit on Classics Panther, which he should, because he shouldn't have any problem sitting down, even with the rubber earth piece. You can see him sitting. If I just tilt my camera up a bit, and you see you can actually ride Classics Panther. And because I have the other one handy as well, I have Origins Panther, the non-flocked version who is almost as big as Classics Panther, even though the only thing is the armor piece, or the actual saddle piece, is actually smaller, so he does have a little bit of a harder time fitting onto that. If he doesn't, his skirt piece fits over it, but he can fit that one, or if you just have him standing next to him, it probably looks pretty decent. If I just move some of the guys out of the way again, get Panther standing next to him. In fact, actually, what I'm going to do, bear with me a moment, I'm going to move these guys out of the way. Yes, my Classics Skeletor has fairly wobbly legs, so I can put him there. Let's see if we can make him look like he's patting Panther on the head. There you go, guys. There is a quick review for Skeletor from the Masters of the Universe Revelations line. I hope you enjoyed this video review. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Please subscribe to the channel to try and keep keep up to date on when I post things. I am planning to do some new non-Masters of the Universe content and some other random figure content that I've picked up. I have quite a lot of stuff to go through. I have a huge bunch of McFarlane multiverse stuff, and I have a huge bunch of other things, and I'm planning a bit of a if I can get it done, I'm planning a bit of an interesting either side channel or an actual addition to this channel, so hopefully you'll enjoy that when I get around to doing it. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video review for Skeletor, and as I said, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Cheers, guys.